How is your history your inheritance? You have to claim it, and you have to claim it for yourself. Dr. Henry Clark taught us that African people can have a golden age or another age of continual despair, depending on how they view themselves in relationship to the totality of history and its irony. Cruelest thing slavery and colonialism did to the Africans was to destroy their memory of what they were before foreign contact. Your history is your inheritance. If you have no memory of your history, you are cut off from your inheritance. You are not yourself. A great teacher of today, Mfundishi Jetwims, and of antiquity, Ptah Hotep, father of philosophy, taught us that a spiritual warrior is the human embodiment of Maati when they are fulfilling their purpose. This is a state when one recognizes their own divinity. Christianity does not do that. Islam does not teach you that. Judaism does not teach you that. They teach you to surrender your soul, to give your life to something else. And he says, in connection with nature, that's animism, that's ancestor reverence, that's ancestor and divine worship, and the universe. Because you are here to transcend this universe. We want to look at this issue of history. And we ask you to subscribe to our channel, to share, and also to enroll into Bantu Foundations to study Bantu mysteries, so that our future as melanin dominant beings, our heritage will be restored, our identity will be awakened, and our ancient African civilization will be explored through knowledge of history. To unlock your power, you have to know your true history. It is to transform your identity and purpose and legacy. Because Martin Luther King Jr., though he was a Christian, said nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. We don't want to be stupid at all. We don't want to be stupid at all. Ignorance of one's true history is a pernicious thing. The lack of knowledge creates a void that breeds a slave, self-doubt, misplaced identity, and cultural amnesia. When individuals are disconnected from their roots, they become vulnerable to harmful practices, psychological defeatism, and the erosion of their ancestral heritage, which has happened today. Our politicians are encouraging Chinese, Russians, Americans, British to take our heritage, our gold, our minerals, our oil, our timber, to dig up graves, throw away heritage. We want to say we have transformative power ourselves. We can do it. African history, melanin dominant history, has been scrubbed and removed. Even in America, they are going ahead doing that today, especially with this Trump era. We want to ask, are we part of the destruction of black civilization? Because Dr. Chancellor Williams, in his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, has a quotation there where it was asked, what became of the black people of Sumer? The traveler asked the old man. For ancient records show that the people of Sumer were black. What happened to them? Sighed the old man. They lost their history, so they died. Shall we heed Chancellor Williams' dire warning? Once bitten, twice shy. The physical manifestation of yourself, especially your skin and your facial features, are your identity. When you bleach, when you change the shape of your nose, you are going through a process of denying yourself. You have been defeated. When you don't know where you come from, what you look like, what you must look like until death, you begin to hate that which you see in the mirror. That's why they go bleaching their skin. They have been psychologically defeated. Doesn't matter whether you got billions of dollars. You are under the curse of a broken spirit. A people without history are like trees without fruits, or trees producing wrong fruits, easily uprooted from their nature and thrown to the dungeon or become secondary beings. Africans, before Europeans came, we were connected spiritually. Today, billions of us worship new gods, and they've forgotten the old ones. They've called the old gods evil, primitive, and useless. Those who know their history win present-day struggles. We know where we have come from. We know that ancient Hamit, before 3000 BCE, was melanin dominant, was a Bantu civilization. And then it was invaded by the Persians, it was invaded by the Muslims who are there now today, and they are the ones claiming that they are the Egyptians. They are not. They can never be. It's very impossible for any Arab today to be an African. Look at that. This is the knowledge of our true history. This is what our ancestors achieved. This practical transformation will move you from ignorance to empowerment. This knowledge of history is not just a record of the past. It is a blueprint for the present and for the future. To know your true history is to reclaim your narrative and to correct your future. Without true history, you can't correct your future. Look, our true history will cause us to understand the roots of present-day struggles. If you read our book, How You Can Survive Current Tragic Wars Against Our Race, by unleashing Black African ancestral competitive advantage, you realize that we have enemies. Even some of our brothers and sisters, pastors, preachers, imams, rabbis, black ones, African ones, Nation of Islam, any Christian movement, any Christian ministry, anyone who preaches Jesus is our enemy, is destroying our heritage. And all politicians that do not think that the Berlin Conference is causing them to behave the way they behave are sellouts. Doesn't matter who they are. They are total sellouts. You see, Christians follow evil King Leopold's letter, which he gave to European Christian missionaries who came to Africa. He told them that when you speak about God, these people, they know. But tell them about this God, our God who died for them. Tell them that this Jesus is the real one. And deceive them. Because that's what he said. Make reference to their mystic system. Let them not use their mystic system. Today, there is no Christian pastor who will teach you to worship your ancestors. He will say that's paganism. That's evil. And they'll teach you to worship Jesus, who also died, who never had kids, who never had sex, who never had a family, who never got married. It is a shame, indeed. Because those who know their history will win present-day struggles by reclaiming their cultural identity and heritage. History reconnects us to our cultural heritage and traditions and languages and spirituality and mentality. This can be especially important to our nation as we rebuild communities that have been destroyed by racism, slavery, and colonization, and disrupted and displaced. So when we reclaim our cultural identity, we cannot do that without reclaiming our true history from ancient Hamit, of which Europeans knew that these race of black men today, our slave, and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, our sciences, and even the use of speech. The pale Arabs know that. Europeans know that. This was written by Count Divoni in his book, The Ruins of Empires. It's clear as daylight to one with eyes to see. So, connecting with ancestral strength and resilience means we learn the struggles and the triumphs of our ancestors. And that can instill in us a sense of pride and resilience. It reminds us as individuals that we are part of a long line of people who overcame adversity, fostering a sense of hope and empowerment. We are connected to pre-dynastic empires, civilizations that invented almost anything you can think of today. Everything that we see today started off with our ancestors coming up with fundamentals of thinking, mathematics, science, medicine, you name it. So that's our history. It's important though that we know that history is not a magic wand. It's not a cure-all. However, the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. So when you see the Sphinx like what I used to do 30 years ago and never connected it to me, I was blind. Same with millions of people that are following Jesus and following Muhammad and reading the Quran. However, when we use history thoughtfully and intentionally, it becomes a powerful tool for healing, a powerful tool for communities and individuals and societies. This is the truth that Europeans knew. So they taught the notion that Africa had no history. And a eurocentric perspective that was propagated by several European scholars and also championed by even our own melanin-dominant human brothers who studied history, studied religion and theology, and today is being propagated by pastors. Any pastor you see preaching Jesus, fostering a European perspective, a European eurocentric perspective of history. Otherwise, that pastor will teach you to worship your ancestors if he is a proper African and spiritual person. Almost all Africans who follow Islam, Christianity, are passive partakers of this notion that Africa had no history, that they must worship a white Jesus. Yet look at that. Just look at the achievement that our ancestors did before Europeans even came out of the caves in Caucasus Mountains, because of the Ice Age 11,000 years ago, right? So before the Greek conquest and rule, and the Europeans and the Roman and many others came to mix us up, Herodotus, so-called Herodotus, said phenotypically, Egyptians are just like Nubians or Ethiopians to their immediate south, because they are characterized by woolly haired, black skin or brown skin. That's what Herodotus say. Today we hear a little bit here and there saying, oh no, he didn't really mean that, and going into all the heuristics of saying no. It is important, therefore, that we do not ignore our history, because the moment we ignore our history, the descendants of those that we defeated, those that were at the bottom of the rung, those that we marshaled and destroyed in battles and war and trampled, will now start to claim that they were the ones driving the chariot. People like Zahi Hawass, a European of Turkish origin, will now claim that he looks like the Sphinx or Remakuti. And he will say, yeah, because we're preaching a Jesus and him crucified. One of our great Marcus Garvey taught us that a people without knowledge of their past history and origin and culture is like a tree without roots. We know that we come from great queens, kings. You can see here Queen Tie. And when you look from the side, they actually filed the nose to be sharper than and to appear narrower, not knowing that even melanin-dominant human beings have a narrower nose. When we know our history, we stand a great chance of winning every present-day struggle, as long as we apply lessons from that history and critically use our brain and consult our ancestors and divinities. Those who remember their history are empowered to reshape their future. Get that power. Get that power of the portal open, Amarfado Family Network. It will open portals for you. I'm your manager to be Preacher Rabbi. LM Tumizulu Kunikeni Mjaganja. Saying, send us an email on lmtumizulu@marfado.org. Let us discuss. Get more information from us. Enroll into our Bantu University. Study Bantu Foundations. Go on to study Bantu Mysteries. We've already started to dish out Bantu Mysteries to the Horesters of Marfado, so that you can start to relive divine ancestral wisdom. You can experiment and test these metaphysical lessons that we give. We recently sent information about how you can make your own dream pillow, so that when you go to sleep, you can release your soul and divine spark to explore other worlds. We've already sent a PDF for that. Anyway, it's for those that have written to us. If you are interested, subscribe, like, comment, and let us walk this journey together. We are crafting a compelling legacy, and we are reliving our divine ancestral wisdom today, not tomorrow, today. Ameni, Ameni, Amenua.